Well, hello, friends. Mark Holmes here, and as always, thank you guys for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. You know, without you guys, I can't make it without you guys. So, I got to tell you, this is one of the best things that I did about 2 years ago was building this fire pit. I love coming out here, and when the weather is not raining or something else, it's just nice to come out here, get your thoughts together, and reflect on the day. Because I was blessed to have this day. And when this day is gone, I can never get it back. And it's one less day that I have left. And so I like taking this time and enjoying this day. So, news on our Dallas Cowboys. Jason Witten hasn't made the complete, definitive decision yet, totally, if he is coming back. He's still talking with the Joneses. He's met with Mike McCarthy. They're looking at film. They're trying to figure out if there is a role and a place for Jason Witten. Last year we were sold on the idea of Jason Witten coming back to be the teacher, the coach, the mentor, the guy that's going to play a small role, but it ended up being Jason Witten all the time. Blake Jarwin had a role as the second tight end, actually had decent numbers, but he didn't really get to be the guy. And unfortunately, when you have a guy who is going to be a Hall of Famer, a guy who has been everything that you asked for as a player, it's hard to put that person in a role where they're no longer the guy. And you always, in the back of your head, remember those incredible things that you used to do. And you always think they're going to be able to do that again. But the reality is, as you get older, you can't do the things you used to do. I know this is hard to believe, but at JMU, I was actually trying to become a decathlete because I was really good at throwing shot put, discus, running the 440 on down. Yes, that's right. I used to run the 440. And I'd be lucky to be able to jog a 440 right now with these bad knees and stuff. The mind's there, but the body just doesn't follow anymore. And that brings us to the idea and the concept of Des Bryant, who's basically saying the same thing that Jason Witten. I just want to come back. I want to mentor. I want to be a role player. I'll be a tight end. Just don't expect me to block. I could be a red zone threat. I could be the guy that spells one of these other guys when they're tired. When they say I need a break, I can be that guy. I'm a big target. But would he be ready to take on just that role? That's the question you have to ask with Des. But here's what's going to happen. Next week is the combine. And the combine is huge because what the combine does is you have, by definition, a combine. It was funny because me and my wife I was looking up the definition of it because, there's a farming combine and that basically takes the wheat and puts it all together and chops it up. And I said, combine. Because we were talking about as we get older and need to retire, that maybe what we should do is, we build a house and then we build a bunch of smaller houses for our friends and we make our own retirement community. So you got a big house that we all can share with a big kitchen and things like that. And then everybody has a little house. So that way we all kind of take care of each other. And so she was calling it a combine. And I was like, is that really a combine or is that a commune? I couldn't figure out the word. So we looked up combine. But combine means bringing multiple pieces all together. You combine, like you're combining ingredients. And that's where all of the owners, the scouts, the organizations will all be there together. And it's not going to be just looking at players that are going to be drafted. It's teams talking and beginning to make little deals. Hey, You interested in getting rid of Derek Carr? What you looking for that? Who else did you talk to on that one? Okay, all right. Well, what would it take to make that deal done? That kind of talk happens, and that's where teams will, along with like Antonio Brown is supposed to be going to the combine and gauging interest and talking about trying to get back into the league. And I'm still trying to understand how anybody would take a chance on AB with all the stuff that's going on out there. We haven't even figured out what the suspension is going to be, or those 3 different cases that are pending. But be that as it may, the teams will all be there together next week, and you'll see the beginnings of deals will actually take place there. There's going to be some trades. There's going to be some teams that are looking at saying, we can draft this guy, that guy that I'm paying $15 million, I might be able to trade him to such and such, and I can pick me up another player, and I can save some money on the cap. Because we're all jockeying for position. There's some teams that got all kinds of money to deal with, and they got the books wide open. There's other teams that have needs, like let's say the Rams. The Rams have no cap room. They have no first round picks the next 2 years, but they need some players. So they're going to be looking to try and see, can we trade one of these high priced veterans to somebody else, get some cap relief, and get some picks. And all this stuff will go down next week. One other note. The NFL is pushing, trying to get this deal done for not only for labor peace for next year to get it out of the way, but there's another ulterior motive with this. They want to get this done as well as the Players Association because they realize that viewership for the first time has gone up. Viewership has gone up after the anthem protests, after some bad Super Bowls and things like that, and other, issues and things. Viewership had gone down. But for the first time in a couple of years, it has increased. And what the NFL is worried about is this. Next year, we're going to be in the middle of the presidential election. There'll be debates on some of those nights where they're football games, and they're looking at it and saying, we want to get the television contracts done coming off of an upswing. If we possibly wait till next year, okay, because technically the deals aren't up for another year, but they want to get negotiating on it as soon as they get labor peace, because we can say, hey, look what we got coming. We got 17 games coming in here. That's a whole nother week of football for you guys that you're going to pay us for. And look at our numbers. Our numbers have gone up even more. We got more people watching. If they wait until the following year and viewership goes down because of the presidential election, then they're not negotiating from as strong a position as they do right now. So that's why you're looking and seeing the NFLPA is having those discussions on Thursday and Friday and possibly a vote. It may not pass on the first go around. They may kick back some things to the NFL and say, give me just a little bit more. Give me a little bit more. We're close. Give me a little more. But both sides want to get this done because they realize there's more money for everybody. So look for next week to be seeing a lot of work that will be happening. For me, I look at football as a young man's game. When you can get a starter in the draft, you got yourself 3-4 years, maybe 5, depending on the CBA, of keeping that guy dirt cheap. And that's how you honestly have to build a team. You can take free agents here and there as fill-ins, but you must build the team through the draft. You look at it. You got all your rookies for what it costs for a mid-level free agent. And they're locked in dirt cheap, $1 million, $1.5 million a year. So it's important that they get this draft right like they did 2016, 2015. We need a good draft. And I hope they're ready for next week. So with that being said, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and get up out of here. So it's time to turn off the lights. This party's over. I'll see you guys when we have more news on the Dallas Cowboys, or first thing in the morning. Have a good night.